Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 108 of Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland. Today I have with me Ben Mesker. How are you?
Good, Cameron. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Now, for any of you guys who don't know, Ben is a filmmaker for various TV shows and movies,
Yep, that's true.
along with short films.
Yeah, I've done a couple of short films as well. Yep.
And some of TV specials and TV movies and documentaries.
I've been really fortunate, Cameron. More than most people, I've had the ability to do a lot of different things. It was just sort of the luck of the draw, and where I ended up working was a production company that did a lot of different things. So I got the chance to experience a lot of different genres, which has been a lot of fun, and I'm very thankful for it.
Nice. Let's begin our first question.
Okay.
How did you get interested in filmmaking?
It's interesting. I think I would have to start with my dad. So my father was a really good storyteller. As a matter of fact, when I was a little kid, I used to sit underneath the table as my father entertained his buddies, and he would tell stories. Now, a lot of these stories I had heard before, so I knew the punchline was coming, right? And I would hear how my dad would change the story and how he would make it a little bit better and make it a little more entertaining. And then, the punchline would come and everybody would laugh and I would enjoy that. And so I think what really happened is that I fell in love with storytelling. And then I became a bit of an artist. In other words, I was always more of a art kid. Excuse me. And so I was painting and drawing. And then when I got into high school, I had an excellent video teacher in high school who put a video camera in my hands. And suddenly the storytelling and what I wanted to do with a frame all kind of came together. And I fell in love with doing video. But you gotta understand one thing there, Cameron, and that is that I didn't know that I could do this. Here's what I mean by that. So I grew up in a small farm town in Ohio, and everybody around me worked and they did their jobs. Everybody, I knew what they did. I was familiar with that whole world. And that was kind of my bubble when I grew up. That was kind of my experiences. So when I got out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And the world seemed like I should find a job around there somewhere. I sort of wanted to maybe leave my hometown and experience the world, but I wasn't sure how. And so I started a job as a salesman. And I was decent salesman, and part of our job there was that we had to reach sales goals. And my boss came and said, "You need to reward yourself for your sales goals. So I want you to go home over the weekend and think about what it is you want to reward yourself with. And then on Monday, that we're going to write that down. That's going to be part of your goal that you're working towards." And I said, "Okay." So I went home over the weekend and I thought about it and I thought about it. And when I came in on Monday, I sat down across from him. Now, he knew I was struggling to figure out what I should do with my life. And so he says to me, "So you thought about it over the weekend? What do you come up with?" And I said, if I reach all my sales goals, I'm going to buy a video camera." And he said, "A video camera?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, why don't you just do that?" And all of a sudden, I realized, holy cow, that's what I should go do. So really, I think it was my love of storytelling and my love of making a frame. And then finally, the last piece of the puzzle really was giving myself permission to go out there in the world and do it. And so that's what I did.
Nice. Let me go over to IMDb.
Okay. So when you called me, Cameron, you called me and you mentioned the show Dooley and Pals. So that's a show that you've enjoyed?
Yes.
I got to tell you that I really enjoyed working on that show. I enjoyed helping make that show. And, I just had a little tiny part of it. Of course, it was a big team of really talented people. Yeah, I worked for a director named Frank, and my job was to do the little interstitials that you would see. So, in other words, I wasn't on set with your favorite characters, I'm afraid to say. But what I did do was the little video inserts of little packages that would be about making something, or I remember one time it was about bubbles, and they were blowing bubbles and taking a bath, and it was like that was part of it. So those kind of things are what I did for Dooley and Pals, but I love doing it, and it was a good show.
Nice. So, in the 1990s, you got to work on a TV show called Curves.
Yes, I did. That's correct. Yep. And that was about female wake surfing, or actually surfboarding. No, not no, it was wake surfing. We would go out to these places where they had these rigs that were set up in a large, pond or water area, and they would be out there doing their things, ramps and everything else. And I didn't work on that show very much. It's interesting. The IMDb, you get credit for everything, whether you worked on it for a day or whether you worked on it for years. So that one I didn't work on that often at all. Probably, I don't know, maybe 6 days or something. I did interviews for them, a lot of interviews.
And you worked on Michigan Drum Ball.
Yes. Is that is that about the cheerleaders? I'm sorry, I almost got to go on IMDb and see what it says about me. To be honest, I don't think I've looked at that thing in a while. Let's go on to another one, because that one, unless it was the cheerleader thing, but that would have said uh, that would have been about the cheerleaders. I'm not sure what that one is, Cameron.
I don't know either. You got to work on She Sport TV.
Yeah, I did a fair amount of that. You're going way back. Yeah, I also did a lot of stuff for MTV at that time, and for VH1, and a lot of stuff for BET. So I worked at a video production company that was called Adrenaline Films. And it was a great, great company. And I'm very lucky to have worked there. And I worked there for about 10 years. And a lot of the shows you're talking about now were during that period of time. And so was Dooley and Pals, actually.
Nice. So you got to work on the children's television show for preschoolers called The Dooley and Pals Show.
You're right about that, buddy. Yeah, I sure did. Yeah. I did a fair amount of work on that show. It was a lot of fun. The bubble one that I mentioned earlier kind of sticks out of my mind a little bit. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because we wanted to get the effect of being inside the bubble for a minute and looking at the children that are looking up at the bubbles, right? And so we wanted to be inside the bubble and look down. And so we talked about different ways of doing that. And so here's what we figured out how to do. We took a glass block and we busted it open. And you know how glass block, if you've ever seen it on the inside, it kind of has a curve to it, right? And so we literally had a chunk of glass block and we put it on the front of the lens. And then we put the camera on a jib and we floated the camera a little bit with a jib. And so between that and the glass block, it gave us just a moment of that look from being inside the bubble looking out at the children. It was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song, that would have to be Summer Breeze, which is a 70s song, and I love it especially. I think it's because I associate it with my house. I bought my house about 8 years ago, and I really like it. And in that song, they talk about the music next door, and right next to me is a good friend of mine who owns a band. And so those guys practice over there, and it's kind of nice to have music in the neighborhood. So I guess that would be my favorite song.
Well, I like the bubble song, Dooley and Pals.
You what? I'm sorry, say that again.
I like the bubble song.
Yeah, you did. Okay, you know the song I'm talking about. So do you remember the shot? We only used it, I think, once at the beginning and once at the end. That look from inside the glass, from inside the glass block. But so my daughter undoubtedly is gotten busy with something. I know she's in the middle of something she's trying to do with some friends. She's playing a video game, so she's not come down yet. But anyways, we can continue.
All right. Do you have a favorite episode of a show?
My favorite episode of a show, like one of the ones that I've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite episode of a show, I think it would have to be a show that I did. I did a lot of episodes of called How to Do Florida. And in this particular show, which you can see on the Discover Florida channel, if you go there, you can see it there. And in this particular show, we were out trying to catch sailfish, and we went out of the Keys in a very famous boat that was owned by a gentleman there who's legendary named Richard Stanzik. So I was going out on a legendary boat with a legendary man out to fish, for the legendary sailfish, which I was quite excited about. Chad Crawford, of course, is the host of the show. I was directing. And I think what makes the show my favorite is what happened. We ended up getting two on at once, so we got a double hookup of the sailfish, and there was a deckhand on board that was especially good. And I noticed that earlier. I've been on a lot of boats, and I watched him, and I knew this is a really good deckhand. And he proved it a moment later. And that's when these sailfish began to do this, where they would go around each other underwater and they were literally twisting the line, right? One sailfish would swim around the other one. And so the I thought we were cooked. I'm like, I don't know how you fix that. And at this moment, he grab the deckhand comes up there and he grabs both fishing rods and he brings the tips up into the light by the sun. And in the reflection on the sun, he can tell which direction that the line is twisted. And then he took their poles and he undid it, right? And he released the line and gave it back to them. And of course, I thought this was incredible. And we got all of that on film. And as the show progressed, these fish did a bunch of different things. They tried to go in different directions. We finally caught them both, and it ended up making for a really great episode. And I remember it well, I think, because I was in my prime, and the story was good, and it all fell together on that particular day. So that's my favorite episode.
Nice. And this show was distributed by American Public Television.
It was as well. Yep. It was that How to Do Florida actually aired on all the ABC, excuse me, all the ABC affiliates in the state of Florida and up into Georgia a little bit, I believe. And then it went on public television, and then it would go other places too. For example, there was a channel in our hospital systems here in Orlando that was the How to Do Florida channel. So if you were laid up in the hospital, you could watch our show, which was kind of nice.
Okay. My favorite episode was Marty was skateboarding and then he fell down.
Okay, I'm trying to think back on that episode. Yeah. I don't remember that particular one, but I'm sure it was a good one. That series. How long did that series uh go on for there? Do you know, Cameron?
30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, how many years do you think that show was on TV? Do you know? Like how many seasons did they make? Do you know?
One.
Oh, really? Only one season. Oh. So I've got a question for you, Cameron. Am I allowed to ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
So I went on and I looked at some of this show and it's really awesome what you've done here. And you said that I am guest number 108. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. So that's a lot. So when did you start to do this show?
It was back in 2023.
Okay. And do you enjoy doing this? It's nice that you do this.
Nice.
Yeah, very good.
And Dooley and Pals was airing on PBS Kids.
Yeah.
And it aired on a Christian channel called Trinity Broadcasting Network.
Okay. And I believe it aired overseas a lot. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now you're in Canada, isn't that right, Cameron?
I'm in Canada. Yes.
All right. Well, I love Canada. So you got a great country there.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
I'm a Christian too.
Okay. Fantastic.
You want to hear Proverbs 17:22?
Sure, let's hear it.
A cheerful heart is good medicine. And
Right
what's
on.
good for clowns?
Yeah, that's right.
You remember reading the Bible,
Yes.
and all the verses are amazing.
Yes.
So, moving on,
Yeah.
you got to work on Ride the Movies.
I did. I worked on Ride the Movies. That's right. For a great producer and now friend of mine, Len DePanasis. Yeah, I did that for Universal Studios.
And you worked on History Undercover,
Yeah,
the true story of the Black Sheep Squadron.
that's right. In fact, I got to meet a lot of the black sheep guys that were, around at that time. And sorry to say that I believe they've all passed now. I believe the last one just passed away not long ago. But it was truly a great honor to meet those men and to be part of that show. Yeah, that was a great show to sit and listen to. I sat through a lot of interviews for that show, and every minute was interesting to me.
You got to work on the short film called The Treaty.
Yes, I sure did. Yep. That was a little 16 millimeter film that I worked on. Yep.
And in the music video for Jin
For Jinx. Is it Jinx?
ED,
Yeah, Jinxed. Yeah. Yeah,
Jinx.
that was a girl group, and the name of their group was called Jinxed. And yeah, that's right. What's interesting about that one is just as something interesting to add is that when we went to shoot that, we shot that in a racquetball court. All white walls. It didn't have any lines on or anything, you know what I mean? Like the racquetball lines. It just, it was just all white walls. And when we got in there, we got set. We turned the cameras on, and there was little marks all over the walls. Like it didn't look that good. So we were kind of like, "Huh, how are we going to fix this?" And the truth is, we didn't have very much money and very much budget, and this is a big problem because these walls are everywhere, and it's going to look kind of nasty if there's all these marks all over it. And then we came up with the solution, which was to overexpose the entire thing. So when you look at that music video, it's all blown out and it's all overexposed. And the nice thing is that the way that we did the lighting, it looked cool. In other words, at that time, it was something different to see, right? And the way that the video cameras at that time would clip at a certain amount and made the overexposure interesting, I would say. So when you overexpose the walls, all those little marks kind of went away. So that's how we cleaned it up, if you will, and got the thing done. So if you watch the music video and wonder why it's also overexposed, that's the reason why.
Nice. You worked for Confessions of the Thug.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was the director of photography on that little feature. Yeah.
So for the upcoming, you were filming Marching Beyond Halftime.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still happening or not. Yeah, that you're talking about in things that may be coming up. Is that where that's listed?
Yes.
Yeah. I watched I mean I shot another show whose name escapes me at the moment that was about cheerleading. And so the same people were going to do this one. So but I don't know that that's happening.
Okay.
All
Um,
right.
do you have behind the scenes footage or photos of Dooley and Pals?
No, I sure don't. Nope. I wish I did. When I shot that show, there was not a lot of cell phone usage that was going on like that, where you would take, BTS stuff. So, no, I was too busy working, unfortunately. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
You met Marty and Dooley,
They would come out on set once in a while. Yes, I have met them. Yes. Yep.
and they were costume characters.
Correct. That's correct.
And where was it filmed?
A lot of it was filmed around the property around Disney, actually. Disney would had a production arm where you could rent out part of their space to do things. And so a lot of that show was shot around their property. And of course they had all the production facilities there. So some of that was shot. The stage stuff I believe was shot in Orlando. I may be wrong. But so all the on-set stuff. So, but mind you, I'm the guy who did all the little side interstitials. So I was sort of I did the things without, Marty as often, right? I think he came out on set for me maybe twice. So I haven't met him often, but yeah.
It was filmed at MGM Studios at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, there we go. Right on.
Do you met Kermit the Frog?
I wish I could say I did. No, I've not met Kermit the Frog. It's a
Okay.
bummer though. I would like to. Wouldn't you like to? wouldn't it be fun to meet him?
I already met him.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I, I was going on a trip back in 2024 to visit Terry Angus and the puppet workshop, and I finally meet Kermit.
Hmm. That's cool. That's the neat thing.
Yes. What about the hurricane one?
Yeah, the hurricane prep one, right? Yep. It's about being prepared for hurricanes, right? Yeah. So yeah, that was to be honest, a short little show that I shot. I did that with Chad Crawford from Crawford Entertainment. And yeah, it was about prepping for hurricanes. My good friend Randy Schaefer crawled up into an attic to film a guy up there putting straps to strap down the roof. And so I appreciated that out of him because it was really hot that day. And so when I think of that show, I'm thankful for Randy.
Yes. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on your show today here, Cameron.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good talking to you today, and I hope you have a lovely day. All right, my friend?
Is there anything else I'd like to say?
Nope. I'm thankful for the experiences I've been able to have and the people I've been able to meet, including you, my friend. So good to meet you there, Cameron.
Nice. Our next upcoming guest will be, drum roll, Tom Naziola. So yeah,
All right. Thank you.
stay tuned for more guests coming up. Until next time, peace.